Okay, it's 6:01 and I'm Karen Hill, and today is Wednesday, March 10th, 2021, and this is the Townsend Conservation meeting, and I'm calling it to order at 6:01. We're gonna start with roll call. John Hussey.
John Hussey's here.
Jim Derorian.
Jim's here.
Jim LaQueer and Ann LaQueer are absent. Dalton Wagman.
Present.
And Jennifer Eaton isn't here, and I, Karen Hill, am here. This meeting is being recorded. Topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance of the meeting. I'd like to add 4.9, letter from Wilcox and Barton, dated February 3rd, 2021. I read phase 4 final inspection report, 234 Main Street, and a determination from NHESP dated 3/8/21, 59 West Meadow Road. That would be 410. So can I get a motion to add those in the appropriate location on the agenda?
So move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
John Hussey, you in favor of this?
I am.
Jim Dorian, you in favor of this?
Yes.
Dalton Wagman, you in favor of this?
Yes.
And I, Karen Hill, in favor of this. Chair's report, 1.4, I'm just been busy trying to hold down the fort. And that'll go with the agent's report too. 1.6, review of minutes. Did you all read these? They were sent out, oh God. Well, I resent them out. You had paper copies of them. So.
Well, on my end.
I didn't get any comments for corrections, so can I get a motion to approve and release?
So moved.
And can I get a second?
Second.
John Hussey, you in favor of this?
I am.
Jim Derorian, you in favor of this?
Yes.
Dalton Wagman, are you in favor of this?
I'll abstain because I did not have an opportunity to review.
Okay, and I'm in favor of this. So that is a majority, all right. 2.0, shoot, it's not 6:05 yet.
Now, Karen, we're 100% caught up with all meeting minutes and everything right now, correct?
Yes, yep.
Nice job. Nice job. Atta girl.
We have been for quite a while.
Working butt off. Crazy.
Let's see if we can't jump forward to, oh, how about 3.3? Appoint a member to fill a vacancy to Open Space and Recreation Committee. This is something that came from the Selectman's office. They want one member from Conservation, or we can appoint a member at large to represent us. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Veronica Cal as our representative for the Conservation Commission on the Open Space and Recreation Committee. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll second. Or I guess that's third now. Nice job. Quick, I like that.
Can't hesitate around here.
Yeah, we'll beat you to it. All right, John, are you in favor of this?
I am.
Jim, are you in favor of this?
I'm in favor of it as long as, you know, Veronica Cal makes us shine.
Okay, she
Oh,
will.
I know that'll happen.
Dalton Wagman, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
And I'm in favor of this, Karen Hill. All right.
That's like a celebrity appearance, isn't it?
Yes,
That's
it
cool.
is.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
All right, so it's now 6:05.
Yay.
We're at 2.1. Hearings and appointments. Notice of intent, DEP 308-0681. The applicant is Westco Corporation. The location is South Row Road, Lot 1. The proposed project is to build a single-family dwelling, installation of a septic system in riverfront area, and has associated wetland buffer impacts. And Paul Chisholm, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, thank you, Karen.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to share my screen here, so bear with me one moment. Okay, can you all see the colored plan that I have up?
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
So this is the notice of intent plan. Karen, actually, I think Dave and Karen and I coordinated with them before the meeting. Just we have a black and white version of this that was submitted, but I think this color up really kind of helps kind of show everything that's going on and the different resource areas and things like that. So let me just take a minute to first walk you through what we're doing. These are 2 existing lots of record. They're 2 separate NOIs, 1 for each parcel. I believe this first hearing is really just for lot 1, which is a 4.2 acre lot. I'm dragging my mouse along the property line for that right now. So it's the it's kind of the southeastern lot of the 2. South Row is the frontage for both of these, accessible frontage for both of these lots, although lot 2 also has actual frontage on Emory Road as well, but will be accessed again off of South Row. So again, this first lot is 4.22 acres. The single family homes will be constructed kind of up towards the front of the parcel along the South Row Road side. You can see there were a number of test pits. That's what these little symbols here scattered throughout the front in hopes of doing septic systems for each of the houses along up with the development. Obviously those didn't pan out well enough to put systems in. You can see other test pits that were done kind of along the way here. Really the only area that was good enough to support septic systems was in the back. You can see here that I've got a couple different color codings on the plan. The yellow is jurisdictional wetland. So you can see it's this kind of big area here. And then we've got some in the back and a little pocket up in the northwest corner. The green is 100-foot buffer area. So anything in there, that's 100 feet out from the wetland itself. And then there's the riverfront, which is the Bixby Brook, designated by these blue lines here. The 100-foot riverfront area is this blue line, and the 200-foot riverfront is this blue line for the Bixby Brook. Separately, there's a second riverfront area in the northwest corner of the property, which is the Witches Brook, that goes into a pipe in the corner of Emory Road and South Row Road, kind of over where my mouse is now, and heads out in the opposite direction. And there's a riverfront area associated with that. This is the 200-foot line. So obviously nothing's happening within that, but it is kind of encroaching into the property a little bit. The site itself is a little bit of a high point relative to both of those brooks. So it's kind of the high point in terms of a drainage divide, with kind of this side all going this way, this side all going this way towards the Bixby Brook. The impacts that are proposed are buffer impacts in through here to support the basically sewer services or septic services back to the leach fields, which will be located back here again in that 100-foot or 200-foot riverfront area, but outside of the 100-foot riverfront area. As Karen had mentioned, this plan's been around for a few years. I think it was originally proposed back in 2017. At that time, there was actually a direct wetland impact right in through here for the temporary access path and the sewer lines. But DEP had an issue because this is in an area of critical concern and they didn't want the wetlands in that area impacted. So this project was put on pause at that time. And then over the course of the next year or so, came to an agreement with the abutting property owner to buy an easement off of them, which is what you'll see kind of right in here in this area to avoid any direct wetland impacts and just keep the wetland buffer impacts in that area. So beyond that, the secondary riverfront area was located. Those were really the two big issues that DEP had at the time that took some time to work through. That actually took long enough where between that and with kind of everything coming to a halt last March, we ended up having to file new notices of intent because I guess they expire after a period of 3 years. So although we had started talking with Dave Henkels back in, actually, I think it was right before Thanksgiving in 2019, we had stuff actually submitted in for last March. It just kind of, the timing was a little bit of an issue with some of these things that we had to change. So that's just a little bit of the background of this. We did do, also as Karen mentioned, a site walk last summer, kind of going through the area. We had walked by a number of these flags kind of down around through the path and back to the riverfront area. So I know Karen was there. Karen, I don't see anyone else. I think it was Ann
And Jim.
yeah, yep. I didn't see them on the meeting here, but I know that they were with us as well.
Right. They're
And-
doing something fun tonight, so.
oh, well, hey, that's more than we can do, right?
So we,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Depends on who you ask, I guess. But anyway, this is all going to be temporary impacts in through back here. It will be one of the comments we got from DEP this last go around was, what are you doing with a restoration plan to mitigate the temporary path and basically restore these areas? The idea is that we're going to use a New England conservation wildlife mix from New England Wetland Plants, which is a company out of Amherst, Mass. And basically it's a good permanent cover, grasses, wildflowers, things like that. It's good for erosion control and for wildlife habitat. So this area will be kind of replanted like that. And really that type of mix is meant to just let grow. So, there's not going to be a need for a lot of access back here. Eventually they'll have to do something. But it's certainly not an area that's going to be accessed a lot or anything like that. It's going to be built and then for the most part left alone, like a typical septic system might. So I guess with that, obviously we submitted some information. I don't know if anybody has any questions on the actual notice of intent report or the plans we sent. I'd be happy to answer that. Also, we are in the process with the Board of Health to get the septic systems approved. We just received some feedback from them Monday, or it might have been Friday last week, but just recently. No deal breakers in there, just some tweaks here and there, and some forms that needed signatures and things like that. So
I have a couple of questions.
absolutely.
Probably, I don't know that they're conservation related. How many homes are we talking about? Just these two?
It's just two, yeah. So it's two. They're actually existing lots, so they've existed for a while, and it's just one single family home on each lot. So one on lot 1, one on lot 2 here.
Is there a lot 3 or a lot 4?
No, nope, there's not. Lot 2 is about a little over 12 acres. Lot 1 is about 4.2. This land was actually all part of I guess, bigger subdivision way back in the mid 90s or so, which as you go to the north along Emery Road, a couple of frontage lots were chopped off there, but these are really the last two of like, there's really not much, you can't subdivide this anymore. It's really the last two that are gonna.
What's the distance from the septic system to the lot that's the furthest away?
This one here, let me tell you, hang on one second.
I guess it would be the one highest on the map, right? The
Yep.
upper,
I'll call it Plan North.
yeah.
That is about 850 feet, as if you're going in this direction, like along the.
Oh yeah, the length of the pipe to get to the septic is what I was wondering about.
So, Mr. Chisholm, to understand, we are going through that wetland area. We are going to be punching in what schedule 88 4-inch line, 6-inch?
I think it's 2-inch.
They're not going through the wetland.
Nope.
They're going through the buffer zone.
We're going just through the buffer, and we're avoiding this is the wetland right here that had been impacted, or proposed to be impacted on the last go around.
Okay, I understand that. That's fine and good and not. But we're looking at over 800 feet of line.
Yep,
It's being shared by both lots, I believe.
No, they each have their own.
it's two separate. It's
They're
40
individual.
40 PVC.
But they run together, don't they?
Yes.
They're side by side. That's right. Yep.
And I assume these are all going to be relying on a pump system.
There's a
No.
pump with just this house here. This is actually all gravity, and the pump is really just to get through the low area here, and then it goes gravity once you get back into this area.
Downhill all the way to the leach system.
Correct.
Far back.
You got it. Yep.
And we're at over 800 feet.
Yep. For this one's about 600.
Okay, thank you. I
They're
am now
both-
much
they're
more
both-
familiar with this, where I do remember this being brought back to us in 2017.
So they're both gravity feed 600 feet.
So yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep. So yeah, again, that first pump will be just for this first section to get through. In fact, I can show you kind of the profile of that. I'll pull up for the one with the pump here. You can see, so yeah, here's that house that was on what I call Plan North, and about, it gets pumped up. Actually, the pump only, I guess the section's only about 100 feet, and then it goes gravity the rest of the way. So it's about, 700, 750 feet of gravity once you get over that hump. Yep.
So now this is gonna have to be mowed fairly regularly because you don't want trees coming up in the middle of this, and the same with on the leach field. So,
So the conservation mix that we're proposing is really more of like a shrub cover. It's not, I mean, I suppose trees will ultimately kind of, if it's not maintained, kind of start growing in there. But yeah, I think they would want to maintain it at least, every so often to prevent that, like, bigger trees to come up and come through. But the mix that we're proposing really isn't supposed to get too big, which I think is part of what makes it a good restoration plan for something like this. That way there's just access to get back there if someone needs to go in and look into clean outs, or some sort of a, small truck needs to get through or something like that.
Due to the distance of this line, Mr. Chisholm, do you find that to need more maintenance than a more a regular system in distance right now? Is that going to be problematic in any way, down the road?
Well, the only thing that can really go wrong in the piping between the house and the leach field is if something gets clogged. More than likely that would happen probably on the end closer to the house. There are quite a few cleanouts along the way where if something goes wrong, they can tie in. In fact, I believe the requirement is a cleanout at least every 100 feet or in a change of direction. So, I mean, there's going to be really a lot of opportunity to get in the pipes if needed. I'm getting a notice here. It looks like someone's trying to get into.
yeah, that would be Jen.
Okay, do you want me to click OK on that?
Yes, please.
Because I have control here, so.
Ah,
okay,
the
hold on.
master now.
So there's going to be activity in the buffer zones throughout the longevity of these houses and septic systems.
Yeah, I mean, septic systems, they're really, with the pump system being up here, I would think a lot of maintenance, more of the maintenance would probably be on this end and in the far end, not so much in between. But I mean, these are not
guarantee. You can't guarantee.
Oh, no, God, no. Yeah, no, of course not.
So what I'm saying is actually pretty accurate. There could be,
yes.
and more than likely will be activity, especially if, like you just got done saying, someone should be mowing this to make sure trees don't grow in that area, and or whatever. Or if someone has an issue, there's going to be a subject to a vehicle out there to inspect any issue with the piping. So yeah.
I mean, typically with these septic systems, you get a lot more of the more frequent stuff is pumping out the tank, which is again up here closer to the houses. So that's the more frequent of the maintenance that will occur. Once you get that past that point, I mean, obviously eventually these systems are going to have to be either replaced or, whatever. I mean, that just happens with systems over, tens of years or whatever it is. But yeah, yes, I'm not trying to say there will be no maintenance or anything like that. I don't think mowing is necessary with the mix we're proposing, but certainly if there's trees that are like saplings that kind of spread into the area, yeah, those may.
Are you telling me you're gonna put signs up so that the squirrels don't plant any eggs?
I don't think they'd listen anyway.
So with this amount of distance that we're running, we are really at a higher probability of failure, or we're at a higher probability of a lot more maintenance and going into these areas again in the future.
Oh yeah.
We're looking at close to an 800-foot line, multiple cleanouts. We're looking now at maintenance that's going to be needed to be done. In other words, the overgrowth. We're going to have to mow. We're going to have to be, and the homeowners are going to be aware of this, and they're going to be diligent to this? All right, that's interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, it will be their responsibility. You know, if they don't maintain it, it's going to be more of an issue for them later when they do have to ultimately do something out there. There will be an agreement, obviously, between the lots because of the cross-access nature of the pipe layout and all of that. But the sheer distance of pipe isn't necessarily something that I think is concerning to me. Obviously, you still have to get through those resource areas to get to the back, but you know, stuff doesn't necessarily fail on the pipe in between. It's the pump in the leach field. It's usually one or the other end. So yes, I do agree that I don't think necessarily the difference between, you know, 500 feet of pipe versus 800 feet of pipe is inherently like worse, I guess. But that doesn't mean, you know, obviously stuff does happen. I don't want to sit here and say that it doesn't. So
Well, enlighten me once again. How often do you see an 800-foot run done for 2 houses? How often do you see this?
There's actually some in town. They're not quite that long. I think there might be a few 600-foot ones, and there's one actually across the street on South Row that has a fairly long pipe.
Okay.
So
But
I
concern,
think we're getting hung up on the pipe here.
right, my concern is the buffer
Yeah.
zone.
I will say that having with the Board of Health having reviewed this, they didn't take any issue or exception to the length of pipe or size of pipe that we're proposing or anything like that.
Right. Oh, I'm sure the pipe is just fine. My concern is
Yeah, I'd like to try
all of the buffer zone infractions here. It's like most of it is jurisdictional for us.
So, Paul, the yellow that I'm seeing on your nice map here, that's actual wetland.
That's actual wetland. That's right. Yeah.
And the green is the 100-foot buffer.
Correct.
So it looks like this piping literally abuts the wetland.
So I'll zoom in here. This is where the piping goes. These are the 2 pipes, these 2 lines right here, and you can see
Right.
It's my distance from the actual wetland right there.
So what's the distance?
Yeah, what's that distance from the pipe to the actual wetland?
Yeah.
Let me measure it. Hang on.
It looks like I could, lightly throw a rock and.
It's about 8 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, I know Dalton can throw a rock that far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I could almost do that.
So I'm sympathetic to people owning land that's unusable and being forced to pay taxes. I'm sympathetic to that, but this seems like a big stretch right here.
Well, I got to say, this meets all the performance standards. We do have to do, an alternative analysis, which is detailed in the supplemental report. It does meet all of the requirements and all of the things that we have to do. Yes, I agree. It is a little unusual to have such a long run, and that's what it is. It's unfortunate that also there was some ledge found up in here that, we would have loved to pull those systems up, but it is a perfectly acceptable, like single family homes is what this is zoned for. I don't think they're asking for anything outside of what's allowed. It's just we do have these resources that we do have to be careful of. So how do we best do that? And I think that's what this proposal does.
Yeah, it puts an installation right next to a wetland that what you have delineated right now might be flooded and actually just be wetland right now if we went out there.
Actually, it's not. It's on a site walk, you'll see how it is. Every time I've been out there, it hasn't had a huge amount of water in it.
In early spring?
I'm sorry?
In early spring?
When were we out there? I can't remember when it was in 2017. The leaves are on the trees. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, it's
I will say, Dalton, that this is, again, one of the things you got to keep in mind here, and let me, I'll try and pull up the USGS map that we have for this is a high point dividing 2 drainage areas. So the water, like Karen said, it really doesn't, there wasn't a lot anytime I've been out there. And I think part of the reason why is there's just not a huge, the only drainage area of contributing water is this site itself. It's nothing off-site flowing onto this property. This is the high point where it's splitting one way or the other. So there's just not, like, the actual drainage area of the lot of anything flowing through the lot is just you know, a portion of the lot itself. It's not like there's water from other properties flowing through this site in the riverfronts or the wetlands or anything like that. So I'm going to pull up the USGS map here that we did. So you can see right here, this is the Bixby Brook. So the systems are going back here. The homes are going up here. This is the Witches Brook. I mean, you can just see that this is the high point somewhere in the middle that splits those two. And this all starts to flow this way. This all starts to flow this way. So again, it's just not a significant area that drains through the property.
So I will say that the amount of, so the septic systems are outside the 100-foot. I mean, not the septic, the leach fields are outside the 100-foot.
Yep.
They are in the riparian zone, but they do fall under the 10% allowed for disturbance in the riparian zone. I had asked Paul to do the calculations for how much disturbance is in each zone. Do you want to repeat that, Paul, or should I?
Yes, absolutely. So Karen, the numbers that I gave you are within the 100-foot buffer, there's a total of buffer disturbance of 28,150 square feet, which includes everything from a little bit up and through here to obviously, you know, this area in here. Between just the 0 to 35-foot buffer, there's 3,970 square feet of disturbance. Between the 35 and 50-foot buffer, there's 2,950 feet of disturbance. And between just the 50 and 100, it's 21,230 square feet of disturbance.
What about in the 8-foot buffer? And also, if you could unpack for me, Paul, what's the length from 39E to 40E?
I'm sorry, the length from
Yeah, the distance. What's that distance? Because you're saying
this right here.
Yeah.
You're
you're saying it's 8 feet, but right now
maybe. No, I'm sorry. What I was measuring was from this point to the closest point of the line, which was this
That was 8
sewer
feet.
line,
Mhm.
is 8 feet. That length between those two flags is 33 feet. So this line right here is 33 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, in fact, some of the performance standards, not only are we just achieving, but we're going above what is necessary for a type of project, which is this type of project being single family homes. Really, anytime you have work in a riverfront area and it's just 2 single family homes or 1 single family home, just like this project is, you aren't required to go on other properties to make it work. This applicant has done that. Again, there was some concern with this wetland, so they were able to do that, thankfully, with the abutter. But so that in and of itself just goes above and beyond that performance standard. Again, we're hitting all the performance standards in accordance with the Wetland Protection Act. So I just want to make sure that that's, we keep that in mind as we continue to talk about it and look at this.
So actually, I want to question your measurement from the pipe to that flag, that 39E flag.
Yep.
You said 8 feet.
Yeah, 8 feet. Yep.
That seems like more than 8 feet.
This right here.
Yeah, to the pipe.
Yeah, to the pipe it was, let me double check that, Karen.
it's closer as you go to 40E.
So
Yeah.
let me measure it from 40. Yeah, I'm getting 8 feet again from that one. From 40, from 40, I'm getting 7.5. So it's, I guess it is a little bit closer from 40 here.
Yeah.
And 42E-1 is also, relatively speaking,
Yeah.
further away than 8 feet, but not by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. This is the property line right here. This is the easement area, this dash line. So I mean, they did what they could to stay out of it. And again, that area, once they're going to go in there and you know, they'll install these pipes. They'll obviously install the systems. Then they'll get out of here. This isn't going to be disrupted for very long. I mean, this certainly isn't an area that, you know, it's not like they're putting a parking lot or anything like that next to it where it's really going to be disturbed for long periods of time. As we all know, yes, there will eventually be some maintenance, but it certainly isn't probably even annual, you know, in terms of just making sure that's adequate. And, you know, I presume someone has to go back there and inspect that system every once in a while, but probably on foot, you know.
And then this is a Presby
Once
system.
in a while is what, Paul? What's every once in a while?
Well, so my house right now, I'm on sewer, but I grew up on a house on the septic system. I mean, I think we had to get our pump not the pump chamber, but the tank pumped out, you know, once every year, every other year, something like that.
Annually, usually rule of thumb is every 2 years, depending on the amount of people living in the house, et cetera, et cetera. There are variables involved in it.
Yep. So other than that, we never had any issues with any of the other systems. My entire time living in that house, which was for about 15 years until I, you know, kind of grew up and got out of there. I think that's probably a pretty typical timeline we see with a lot of things. I mean, you know, if this is every couple of years, my guess is this is probably on the scale of what, 10 to 20 to 30 years is the lifespan for something like that. So certainly not annual, you know, like I said.
Once again, it depends upon the amount of people living in the house, how well they take care of it.
Exactly. I think that's probably the biggest factor. I think the biggest factor is who do you got living in there and what are they doing? You know, making sure they're not flushing the things and that they shouldn't be, and that sort of thing. I think that's all.
Where's the location of the secondary leach field? In the event of a leach field failure, don't you have
The reserve system.
Yep, the reserve system is
in relationship to the wetlands? Because all I'm concerned with is the
sure. Yeah, no, the reserve systems, oh boy, let's see.
I don't see it.
Is it in the trenches?
I think it's actually in the, it's in the trenches that, so it's, and I apologize, I can reach out to Mark, our septic designer, how that is supposed to work more, but my understanding was it's in the same area. It's not like you're, you know, moving it over, you know, taking the system and shoving it this way or that way. It's in there.
It's a Presby system. So
system, yep.
So they're a little easier to replace the system that's, again, in between the trenches.
They're an easier system to replace, but at a higher cost.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but you know what? That's part of the, that's just kind of part of the deal with this. Obviously, you know, the developer, you know, no one wants to spend money for $800 worth of pipe and putting in a Presby system that far away from a house, but that's just what it is. Unfortunately, you know, I'm sure they'd love to spend, you know, less money by putting this thing right up against the back of the houses, like you know, some other places, but that just isn't the case for this. So you're absolutely right. That's just kind of part of, if you buy this house, you want to make sure you're taking care of that. So you're not replacing that, you know, anytime soon, because you're absolutely right. They're a little bit more expensive to replace.
All right, quick question for Karen Haley, won't hurt any more out of me. Dalton, have you gone on the sidewalk? Are you familiar with what you're looking at here down at this site?
he and Jennifer have not been out there.
Would it be in our best interest to bring those individuals out there along with myself? I would like to get reacclimated with it. I've been there. I recall this. I mean, been on the board for 12 years. I would like to go revisit this and just reacclimate to it. So I got, you know, some thoughts on it. I like to take a good look at it. Is that?
It's perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
So we should, I guess we should open the other one and then just open it to continue it so that we can schedule a site walk.
Let's save ourselves the time.
I agree. Okay, so can I get a motion to continue this to March 24th at 6:05?
Motion to continue.
Second,
Thank you. And I'm sorry, the printer just did something. John Hussey, you in favor of this?
Am I in favor of the
Continuation, yes.
Yes.
Jim Dorian, you in favor of this?
yes, I am, Karen.
Dalton Wagman, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jennifer, have you showed up?
She's here.
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
and yes, I'm in
That's okay.
favor.
And I'm in favor of this. Okay. So let me open this hearing and then we'll pretty much do the same thing.
Karen,
I'd like to ask
Yes.
Paul one more question.
Sure.
Paul, will any delineations be flagged out there for us?
Yeah. Yep, the flags are still out there. In fact, we had to, before the last site walk, we had the wetland scientist basically make sure all the flags were up there or reflags the ones, anyone that were missing, and he found them. So
And
in
will
fact, we were walking by quite a few of them.
Will your nice flags be labeled for us? As an example, 3090 and 40E?
Yes.
Yep, they were.
Excellent.
Okay.
Also, Karen, before we close, I didn't know if there was anyone, I'm just unfamiliar with the attendance list. I didn't know if there was anyone from the public that had any questions. What I'd really like to do is, if there's anything that we'd like to see changed here, I'm kind of hoping to get a plan revision in before the next meeting. Number one, I know the DEP wanted us to put the conservation mix on the plan and add a few labels. So I'm trying to do some things like that. I didn't know if there was anything from anybody here that they saw that they would want to tell me now that I could help, that might help things as we continue to move forward.
Personally, I'd like to see some other form of mitigation. I'd like to see maybe some infiltration trenches somewhere, something that's going to enhance the water quality. Maybe some more habitat creation. That's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of how much tree cover is going to be eliminated? Because you are talking from the
Oh, yeah. So Karen, the numbers that I gave you of the total work, that's all pretty much most of it is existing tree cover that's going to be removed. So
Okay.
those numbers are more or less the same.
Can I assume none of that will be in the riparian?
In the what?
riparian zone.
Is any of the
Oh,
tree
no.
removal?
No, nope, nothing within that 100-foot.
Okay, very good, very good.
Karen, do you mind if I reach out to you and we can talk a little bit more about some of the particulars of that stuff in the next week or so? Okay.
Okay, so we ready to open the second one? I gotta see what time it is. I can't read okay, 6:39. And I'd like to open the notice of intent for DEP 308-0682. The applicant is Wesco Corporation. The location is South Row Road, Lot 2. The proposed project is build a single-family dwelling, installation of a septic system in riverfront area, and has associated wetland buffer impacts. So again, these two are together. So just because they're lot 1 and 2, I had to add them, but we've been discussing the whole project as a whole. So does anyone want to throw in any more questions before we make a motion to continue?
Yes. And I'm not trying to be unfair here.
No.
Would we be able to realistically schedule a site walk relatively soon? I'd be interested in seeing this property in the next month or so when things are really wet, just to get a feel for it, as opposed to like midsummer when it might be very dry.
Well, I think I'd like to do it either this weekend or next weekend.
Yes, sooner the better. We don't want to, drag this out any longer, within a 2-week period, for sure.
I have to work Saturday, but I can make myself available for Sunday.
Is Paul, you going to be able to get an engineer or someone out there to represent
Yeah, for, sorry, which day?
Sunday?
For Sunday, Sunday the 14th?
Yeah, I guess that's the day.
Coming Sunday, yeah. I don't can't believe it's March already. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What time?
Does anybody have a time in mind?
After breakfast.
All right. So I might eat breakfast at 6. What time are you?
Can we
I
do-
have, I have a toddler and an infant at home, so I'm up at about 5. So
Oh,
anytime.
good for you.
I have a question.
Yep.
With regard to the 2 house lots, right in between the 2 house lots, I see a large white area on your map. Obviously, that is outside of any of our jurisdiction. Why was that not chosen for the leach fields?
Ledge. It's all because of ledge. You need to have a certain depth of material before a native material before you hit ledge. Believe me, I asked those same questions when I first got involved in this, and that's why you see so many around here. Apparently, they actually did several rounds of test pits, specifically even up here, just to try and find an area that would work, and it just didn't. The site wasn't conducive to it.
So you can't legally remove that ledge and make it work?
The way it was described to me by the septic designer is that it's got to be a native material. I think he said it was a 4-foot depth of native material before you hit bedrock or refusal, and they just didn't have it in any of those pits. So they couldn't. I asked the same thing. Can you just make like kind of create that by filling or whatever? Because to me that actually makes a lot of sense, but it just doesn't work that way apparently.
And they tested the area north of the the top lot up
Yep.
in there?
That's correct. Yep. Right up and through here. Yep.
How did they test those?
With a backhoe.
Okay.
They did, yep, standard test pits. Yep.
But the 2 foundation lots are going to be able to, they're free and clear, and they're gonna have full basements.
They'll have basements. You know, they are designed. I believe they're partially designed as walkouts. The houses are in a little bit of fill, or at least built up a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's probably going to have to be. They'll have to chip away at some stuff,
Yeah.
probably to put in at least some portion of that. I would guess, but it's more or less designed to kind of sit up a little bit. You know, obviously the foundations themselves don't need separation to bedrock like a septic system does. So.
I'm good.
Okay. Can I get a motion to continue this to March 24th at 6:20?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
Okay, John Hussey, you in favor of this?
I am.
Jim Dorian, you in favor of this?
Yes, I am.
Dalton Wegman, you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jennifer Eaton, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
And I'm in favor of this. Okay, so we need to set a time for the site walk. Do you want to say 9:30, 10?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so
Good.
which one?
10 a.m.
10? Is
Please.
that okay?
10 o'clock this Sunday?
Yes.
Okie dokie.
You got it. And just so you know, where we parked last time, the vegetation's a little thick right up on South Row Road here. So we actually parked right around the corner of Emery and South Row, kind of along the Emery side, close to the intersection. There's a little area we could all pull off and along the side of the road. So
Thank you.
just a heads up for that. That's a good place to do it.
Hopefully the snow will be all gone.
Hopefully. Okay, thank you. And Karen, I will reach out to you sometime either tomorrow, Friday, or early next week, just to talk about stormwater and some other things. So,
Okay, great.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chisholm.
Hey, that was our only appointments. All right.
Okay, have a nice weekend.
That brings us to 3.0, work session. 3.1, approve certificate of compliance for Nexamp Lockbrook Solar, DEP 308-662. And we have people here for that.
A butter. Do I have to abstain?
Yeah, you do.
I'm
Well-
leaving.
Yes, you do. You don't have to leave, but you have to abstain. Nick, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Good evening, members of the commission. As you might be aware, this project was permitted back in the fall of 2018 and later received its order of condition in January of 2019 for the development of a ground-mounted solar facility on 22 West Meadow Road.
Yes.
Construction continued through that year and into the following winter, a couple years later, and is now fully built out and ready to receive its certificate of compliance with your approval. Beals and Thomas visited the site in June of 2020, and everything appeared to be built in accordance with the plans. We've written a letter indicating substantial completion or substantial compliance, excuse me, and noted a few minor deviations from the project approval. However, all of these were minor. And although the site is captured between two riverfront areas, they really didn't impact the resource areas in a significant manner. That being said, I'm willing to take some question and answer or Q&A.
Did we get an as-built from you?
You did,
Yes.
you were emailed that,
Oh,
so,
okay.
I can attempt
Was
to.
that a map?
yes, it was. It was probably in February because this was supposed to be on our February meeting. It got canceled.
If you like, I can try to share my screen and pull
That would
up
be
the
great.
Asbel plan. Can somebody give me permission to do
I
that?
thought Hartley did. Hartley, are you there, Hartley?
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
think we're
great,
good.
thank you.
There he is.
So this was the Asbel plan that we generated. The minor deviations that we had noted were a slight shift in the fence line to be a little bit closer to the array than the road. That was partially due to the landowner. He's interested in haying his field and, kind of going back to the original agricultural use that this used to have. Other things included this spur road for the interconnect was actually shaped up a little bit differently than originally permitted, with less gravel than originally approved. And then the material for the pipe, there wound up being a little bit more cover than anticipated, and they were able to go with a HDPE pipe instead of a reinforced concrete pipe.
Karen, where and why is this in our jurisdiction?
It's in two riverfronts. I don't know if you can see, the bottom of the screen is the riverfront of Willard Brook.
Willard Brook, and
And
then
the
up on the north is Lock Brook.
Yes,
Okay. And this installation is being prepared. It's not in.
No, this is already fully built out. This is a request for a certificate of compliance.
Okay. And have you been on site, Karen?
I have actually. I was actually out there at Christmas of all the weird things.
Excellent. Okay. So
I was-
anything?
No, everything looked stable. Christmas Day, we had that 2 to 3 inches of rain, and I was out checking the rivers because I like to watch the water going through the rivers. And I happened to come down here and I saw the retention basin doing its thing, and I drove down around and everything's stable. The planting in the front is there and looks very naturalistic. You wouldn't even know it's the planting. I don't have an issue with this.
When was the work completed?
I have representatives from Nexamp, the company on here, but I believe that work has ceased, at least 8 months ago. It's kind of my understanding.
I was gonna say a year ago or almost a year ago.
Okay, so you saw it, Karen, after it had been finished.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I did also.
It was all stable and, well, as far as we're concerned, it's finished. I don't know about the building inspector and all the other entities involved, but they've complied with what they promised to do for us. other than the minor deviations, which we have less gravel in our jurisdiction, which is good. Again, I don't have an issue with this.
Nick, at this point in time, is Jimmy generating electricity out of there?
I am not sure if the system is turned on at the moment.
But all the linking, everything is in completion with Unitil. They've approved everything. And we're just waiting on this to allow power to run.
Oh, no, we have nothing to do with that. We have
Correct.
nothing, we'd have nothing to do with that. We're just,
Yeah.
this is just the site, period.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I defer to our partners at Nexamp if they know more information about when the system is actually turned on or viable.
So I can.
That's kind of
I can
out of
speak
our
to
purview.
that. My name is Jennifer Duquette. I am project manager for this project. This site was approved to power on at the end of 2020. So this site is generating power.
Oh, excellent.
So we're 2 months into making some kilowatts. Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
anybody have any questions?
I have no problem with it. I've been by it a couple of times, and as Karen said, I went on a site walk quite a while ago, but I mean, they did what they said they were gonna do.
Okay, with that being said, can I get a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for DEP 308-662 Nexamp Locksbrook Solar?
So move.
Can I get a second?
Second,
Okay. John Hussey, you in favor of this?
I am.
Jim Dorian has to abstain. Blah, blah, blah. Dalton Wagman, are you in favor of this?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Jennifer Eaton, are you in favor of this?
yes.
And I, Karen Hill, am in favor of this. Okay, so we will get this out in the mail to you maybe next week.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll be looking for you guys this weekend for signatures.
Yeah.
3.2 Earth Day is April 24th, 2021. I guess Karen Clement's gonna run a craft fair Earth Day thing. In the past, we tried to do it once and it didn't work, so I don't know if we want to try to do it again or not. I don't know what we do, but time's ticking.
When is it? When's the deadline?
That's a good question. I thought it was the beginning of April, but I'm not seeing it quickly.
Can't do a thing with my hair. Yeah, neither can you. Don't laugh.
Thanks a lot. Anyway,
What?
I'm sure.
so would you two stop it? So the question is, do we want to do something for Earth Day or not? That's the question.
I put the trash out every week. As far as I'm concerned, I'm good.
I'm putting 40 bluebird nests together, bird houses this month. So is that like a personal contribution without showing up?
You could show people how to do that on Earth Day.
Yeah, it's not
I don't-
about us.
I'm like, I don't have good people
He's busy.
skills.
He's busy.
I'm busy. No.
I'm gonna say this is a no then, okay?
Hey,
Unless-
chick, does that help?
I don't have any
I
spare
have a
time.
conflict of interest. My daughter, I think, is doing a table, so
Oh, we'll go see Jen's daughter.
Yeah, you'll represent us. How's that?
Once again, what would we do if we did do a table?
I don't know. That's, I don't know.
That's
You
what I'm-
you did it the last time, Karen.
No, I did not. To be honest,
You did it the last time I remember.
the last time we tried to do it, Christine was in charge,
Right.
and that didn't go very well. So, yeah. Anyway. All right.
I love Christine.
Yes.
Yep.
So we will pass on Earth Day, and we'll celebrate in our own special ways.
There you go.
Does anyone wanna,
There'll be another one coming next year.
anyone wanna come down, help me, put some bluebird boxes up? I mean, they're more than welcome. I'm
Thank you.
making one for every member. I mean, that's-
Can we stop the chatter and just continue on with the meeting, please? Thank you. 3.4, we,
Your place, pal.
I
Shut
could-
up.
We should give you a gavel.
actually, I need a taser.
It's like old times. I'm just trying to bring.
It's gonna
some
be one hell of a
memories back.
taser to reach us.
One of those little zap, your dog has one. Anyway,
Can you mute people? You should be able to mute people.
I should.
Easy.
3.4.
Easy.
Stop. 3.4, approve certificate of compliance for DEP 308-652 13 Beach Street. This was a septic system replacement that they did in 2017. Actually, John and I, we went out there and did a site walk because they requested a certificate of compliance in, I think it was September, and the
Yeah.
grass hadn't grown in yet. So 3.5 years later, the grass is done and the house is sold, so they want a certificate of compliance.
Go figure.
With thought.
Well,
So it's stable and it's all set to go. So can I get a motion to approve this?
yes, and I can recall, as I recall, a lot was fairly level.
Yes.
So with that said, just as a note of interest for everyone, I would make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Who was that?
Dalton beat him.
Okay.
At a point, Dalton.
John Hussey, you in favor of this?
Yeah.
Jim Drury, you in favor of this?
I am.
Dalton Wegman, you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jennifer Eaton, you in favor of this?
Yes.
And I, Karen Hill, in favor of this. Okay, 3.5, discuss and or vote to recommend a candidate for the agent's position. We have, I sent you off, a resume and an application for Katie Moritz. She's actually joining us here. Katie, do you want to unmute yourself? There we go. Hi, Katie.
Hey,
So does anyone have any questions?
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Wait. Don't all talk at once. I'm gonna let Dalton go first.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
yeah, so I graduated from Smith College in 2018, and I was an environmental science and policy major there, and kind of worked with UMass and various kind of other projects on like wildlife habitat management and sustainability issues on campus. But then the past year, so 2019 to 2020, I was an AmeriCorps member with New England Forestry Foundation, and I served as a regional collaboration coordinator for them and helped them with landowner outreach.
Here in New England?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not familiar with all the rules with regard to interviewing people. So if I ask a question that you're uncomfortable with, please just don't answer it. Because I don't want to get either one of us in trouble, especially me. I'm always in trouble. What am I saying? Anyway, do you live somewhere close by in Townsend or not too far from town? I don't want to know your address, but
Yeah, so I'm actually
You
in
wouldn't be
New
too bad,
Hampshire,
too.
but I'm in Hollis.
oh, so that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, so just like on the other side of the border, pretty much.
Is your I think this question may be sketchy. Is your intent to stay on for a fairly good length of time, or?
At least for at least a year, if not longer. Looking at potentially pursuing masters, but TBD at that point. At this point,
Yeah, those are expensive.
yeah.
Well, there's no reason why you can't work and continue on your education. So just saying. Anyone else? That's it?
So,
I wish somebody told me that years ago, because I just graduated the 7th grade 2 weeks
All right.
ago.
John, please.
Thank you.
yeah, okay. So it sounds like you're relatively fresh out of school. Is that fair to say? And you served in America right after?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're interested in pursuing a master program, right?
Yeah, in the future at this point.
And your thought is maybe in that foreseeable future, you wouldn't be able to keep up with your studies and work this job at the same time?
Potentially, it would have to depend, but
So looking on your resume, it looks like there are a few positions that you had held for a year or not more than a year. So I think with John's question, it's just, it's valuable for us as a commission and for a town to potentially have a agent who serves for longer than a year. Not that you have to. It's just something that we might want to know about. You know, are you going to be here for longer than a year, or is it going to be less than a year?
yeah, that's a fair question. I know a lot of the positions kind of were like during like college or high school, and so just kind of like moving around a lot between those. And then AmeriCorps itself was just 11 months set, and so like signing on for just a set amount of time. But definitely kind of things up in the air a little bit, but I'm hoping to stay in the area and like keep working for at least a year, if not longer.
What is it about you that you think might be a little bit different, that might set you might set you apart from other candidates? Something that you think we should know about? And you know, what are you passionate about? Why do you want the job?
Yeah, so I've been trying to kind of, since graduating, figuring out like what exactly I want to kind of pursue and keep going for, and like turn more into career oriented kind of stuff rather than academics. And so like interested in like conservation issues, especially when it comes to like wildlife habitat and kind of management for that, and trying to kind of find at times like more creative solutions, or just trying ways to like tell the story in a way that appeals to a like broader group of people than sometimes is aware.
Jen has her hand up.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Kate. I just had a quick question for you. Have you ever worked with a conservation? It's a few questions, but have you ever worked with a conservation commission before?
A little bit. I worked a little bit with different agents when I was an AmeriCorps member, reaching out to them for planning different events. So not quite in the same capacity, but more so with land trusts than conservation commissions.
And are you familiar with the role that the conservation agent plays in respect to the Conservation Commission?
Not entirely, but to some extent, but kind of in between that a little bit.
Could you tell us what you think maybe you might be, what you anticipate it to be like?
Yeah, I guess from my understanding, kind of in a way, a little bit of a like a liaison between the town and the commission, and aiding kind of in that communication.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I have something that I'd like to ask ask you. The field agent job can be, and oftentimes is, a tad stressful. You're dealing with people that own land that the commission ultimately has a say in what they can and cannot do. So that can be a bit testy. You have to be professional, but at the same time, you've got to be prepared that someone could ultimately be a tad bit unhappy, or maybe it's a bit more than a tad bit. With that said, do you think your personality is such that you could handle that type of a position? Because a lot of people think that if they own the land, they should be able to do anything they want with it. And our ultimate goal as a commission is to protect the environment, environment and its wildlife. Ultimately, that's a pretty serious thing. And when you try to tell people that, no, you can't do that, they don't exactly get happy about it. So with that said, do you believe that your personality is such that you'd be able to withstand some of the characters that own property that think they ought to be able to do whatever they want with it.
I think I would be able to, at least for like the most part. I know there's always kind of extreme outliers in cases. But I think I would be able to handle it. I worked retail briefly at one point and always getting weird, strange customers demanding all sorts of things and having to still remain professional, but kind of set the rules in a way.
Well, what we try to do and what agents have done in the past is inform people of the laws regarding. And I know that Dave always said to people, you know, anything we can do, if you're not happy with us, anything that we can do to help you, we're more than happy to help, or give you the law chapter and or whatever that pertains to your issue. And that sometimes helps, but probably not as often as we wish it would. But yeah, you kind of have to go into things sometimes well-versed in what's going on. And yeah, the laws are crystal clear, but there's more than one, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you seem like a pretty intelligent person, so.
Thanks.
Thank you, I think that's all I have.
Karen, are there any other applicants that we are going through today, or is this the only?
This is it for today.
This is it for today.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to stick to a point, being that I think it's going to be important for us to look for an agent that we've got some longevity with and some past knowledge. But at the same time, it's important for us to move forth to bring somebody into this position sooner than later, because I can see you're getting a little tired. And I think you're going to need as much help as you can get.
She just didn't
So
get
this
it
is
yet.
really kind of a catch-22. How long was Dave Hinkle with us?
3.5-ish.
3.5 years. And I got to be honest with you, that was too short of a time to lose him in.
I agree.
That's going to be about average for this town.
I agree. I mean, that's about how long it took him to go, boom, I got to go.
Stop.
You know, but at the same time, for an individual to be here for a reasonable amount of time, I think in a sense is asking a lot more than we're deserving of. I
I'm
mean,
happy to get anyone competent in this position for however long. You know,
yes.
I explained this to Dave, that Townsend is usually a stepping stone because of the way it is. And it sucks, but it's also good because you make tons and tons of contacts and relationships. And you can use those relationships for all kinds of things in life. And, you know, we have Lindsay, we had Nick and Lee and Dave and all these other people that we can, at some point, if we need some help or some assistance, we know we can lean on them.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I agree with Karen. I
think if she gets a whole year under her belt, that would definitely be a character strengthening experience,
especially in this town.
You know, I think it would.
You guys are really selling it, by the way.
And we know we are.
Wait,
there's no point in her not knowing what she's getting involved in.
It always depends on
the crazy old guys on the Conservation Commission. Dalton looks unhappy. Are you okay, Dalton?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'd like to make a suggestion for Katie, if I may, Karen.
Yes.
So what I would do, Katie, if I were you, is I would take some time and do a little bit more research into the position and your responsibilities and what it might actually entail. And this doesn't have to be rushed. And then I would prepare a follow-up email to us as a commission and express your thoughts. Tell us about what you've learned and why you think that you're a really strong candidate for the position. And I would consider also, are you able and willing and interested in committing for more than a year? If average is 3 years, Can you give us that average, or do you think that it would be less? And just be forthright with us, be honest. And it doesn't have to be even this week, but send us a follow-up email and think about it.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable.
It sounds reasonable. I don't see how anyone can commit to anything because realistically, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I feel that that's a little inappropriate in my opinion. You know, she might love the job and stay for 20 years.
Yeah, there's a good chance she's just gonna warm right up to us. I mean, we're just a definite hit.
I have to apologize for those two. I apparently there's no controlling them tonight.
Well, there's no contract. It's just, you know, it's just being straightforward.
Okay.
We're being selfish. We're thinking of ourselves.
And Townsend really is a sweet little town, trust me. We've both been here a real long time. You might even like it. I like it myself. So anyway.
Yeah, that's it. What he said.
Okay. So
Thanks for coming, hon.
I'm
What?
sorry. You guys are embarrassing me. You know that.
About time.
Oh, great.
Oh, God.
So Katie, are you amenable to that? Are you gonna run screaming now that we?
Do you have any questions for us, Katie, before we wrap this
Yes.
up? And you can, in the follow-up email also, you know, send us over those questions.
Okay, yeah, I have one, and I was just kind of like what you guys are looking for in general, like in a successful agent.
Well, the position is to, I just lost the word, I'm sorry. We enforce the Wetlands Protection Act, and the job of the agent is to guide us with that and making decisions. For example, you would have gone out on this approval we just did for Lockbrook Stoller, and you would have looked at the plan and said, yep, this looks stable, this looks like we could approve it. You would maybe write up something and say, it's stable, I recommend you approve it. We don't have to go with what you asked, what you say to do. We could go an opposite direction, but based on what you've seen in the field and what your knowledge is based on the Wetlands Protection Act and Townsend's wetland bylaw as such, you're telling us what you think that is allowing for to happen. We have our own minds as a commission. We can go a completely different way, but that's the way it goes. And then as Jim and John suggested, there is a bit of enforcement involved in this. You may have tuned in the beginning of the hearing or before the hearing when we were talking about another issue that we thought was settled that may not be. So.
True.
You know, and if you generate a folder on a particular issue, you can take photographs so that we see what you see. That's happened in the past, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But, to fortify your opinion. But,
Townsend has a lot of resource areas. We've got the Squannacook River and a whole lot of brooks, and we've got a lot of habitat for endangered species, and that kind of overlaps with what we do. So there's a little bit of trying to maintain that to some extent, although that doesn't fall under us, but some of the habitat falls in our jurisdiction. So we work together with MISA Natural Heritage to try to protect the habitat. None of it's rocket science, everything's spelled out. And again, we have relationships with people that are more than willing to help. Even DEP, they're a wonderful source. Everybody there is friendly. So, if I can pick this up, anyone can pick this up.
well, you also have natural heritage that you can reach out to.
Yep.
Fish and Wildlife, you know, they can
Everybody.
chime in on decision makings. You know, you say, hey, you know, we just can't help you, and neither do any of these other agencies want you to help, want to help you. I mean, they can't because of the way it's structured. You're unable to do that. So, and then we have the towns and wetland bylaws. So you got to get familiar with that.
Which won't take long.
No, and I think that it would be a phenomenal learning curve for her to do this area with what's going on. I mean, even for her to acclimate a little bit with what's going on with the purchase of Thudides right now with Fish and Game and what they're doing with the property, how they're locking all these pieces of state property together. I mean, it's some really good stuff going on in this town. I think it would be a very good learning curve for her to see the wildlife that has come back that I haven't seen here for many years. I mean, between the turkeys, the bald eagles, our wetland areas, it would be a good learning area for her also. So that being said, moving forward.
Okay. So Dalton had made a suggestion that Katie think about where she wants to go with this and how she, I'm sorry, I've lost my mind. Dalton, you want to take this?
Sure, yeah, you haven't had your coffee. Yeah, it was just a recommendation to think about things, to do a little bit more research, to generate even questions for us and write us a follow-up letter.
All right.
And if Katie wants to do that and continue forward with this, then that's the case. And if she doesn't want to continue forward, then we won't hear back from her. All right.
Now, how familiar are you with Townsend? Have you been able to get a little bit of time to drive around, take a look at the, the Squanicook, and the harbor and some of these little back roads?
A little bit, mostly just kind of driving through, but unfortunately haven't been able to spend too much time in the area.
Okay.
Well, that'll all come about.
That would
Sure.
also be a really good thing to do, in consideration of writing your letter, to maybe check out some of our resources.
For sure.
All right, well, so, well, Katie, whenever you want to do that, we'll bring you back before the commission and continue on.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Well, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you for your
sorry.
time.
Thank you, guys.
I'm
Thank you,
sorry for
Katie.
those two. I really am. Anyway.
Thank you. You've really taken this well. Good job. All
Thanks.
right. It's good to see a little sense of humor in it. You're smiling and laughing a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think Jennifer is, so Jennifer doesn't.
Have a good night.
You too.
Good night, Katie.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, Katie.
Thanks, guys.
She's crying right now.
Yeah, I know.
What
No,
happened?
she's
running.
not. She's probably just got more warm and fuzzy going on with her right
She's
now.
running like there's a fire on her backside. Anyway,
Oh, come on.
correspondence 4.0.
I don't know.
We're old.
4. All right, stop, please. 4.1, letter from Karen Clement, RE Earth Day Townwide Craft Sale, nonprofit event, April 24th, 2021, rain date, April 25th, 2021. We discussed that. 4.2, decision from the planning board, RE 59 West Meadow Road, stormwater permit dated 2/8/21, granted. So they got their stormwater permit. 4.3, letter from Beals and Thomas dated February 5th, 2021, requesting a COC. That was next thing up. Wait a minute.
That's that bridge on Greenville Road.
Calls it.
3.1.
Which one's Beals and Thomas?
3.1 was Beals and Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's Lockbrook Solar. All right.
Yep.
That's why. All right. I confused myself. What do you know? So we did that. 4.4, approved 401 Greenville Bridge replacement. So they got their 401 water quality which is one more permit they needed to do in order to start the bridge project. It doesn't really affect us, but it is part of us. I think I emailed you out the whole thing. I didn't print it because it's very lengthy.
Karen, I don't mean to interrupt you or anything, but when you refer to bridge, you should refer to culvert replacement. That's not a bridge, is it?
It's a bridge. It's a bridge. They're replacing a culvert with a box culvert. It's a bridge. It's just what's going in down the street from you.
Okay, so in other words, what I'm saying is we're going from the culvert to a box culvert, which is considered a
bridge.
A bridge.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
wanted to clarify that with everybody. Now, is that the 4 culverts that are punching through there? That goes into that fish and game lot?
I don't know. It's 2. I think it's 1 culvert. This is on Greenville Road.
Correct.
I thought it was just,
From the old dump site to the left.
All right, well, there's several culverts. Okay.
Yeah.
no,
think it was
it's
the
not the one. It's not the one you're thinking about. It's not.
That
It's,
goes into Winter's property?
no, it's further down. It's
All right,
further
very good,
down.
very good. Okay.
Actually, I think there might be some caution tape or something around it.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
there were a cone or something there.
Yeah. Yep.
In other
Okay.
words, they declared that they did not have enough flow capacity through there because
Well, I think, yeah, I think
what
No.
happens if it backs up and it
It
will
was-
not flow.
No.
it's
No,
crumbled.
you have to meet the stream crossing standards, which is X amount of bank width and height. So that's what a box culvert creates, and you also have the open bottom and not a
So
culvert.
it's more habitat.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
4.5, notice from Selectmen's Office, RE vacancy, open space and recreation committee. We took care of that. 4.6, decision from ZBA, RE 59 West Meadow Road, earth excavation permit dated 2/22/21. They decided they didn't need a permit for that.
450, what, referring to Jimmy then?
No, for Joe Iodice.
Okay.
59.
Oh, 50.
But all they're doing is regrading the slopes eventually.
4.7, letter from Omni Environmental Group, RE Turnpike Road release notification form dated 2/19/21. That just asked the town or notified the town as a whole that there was an issue over there and that we may want further action, but we got something from DEP back in February that says that the site's in compliance. So more paperwork, I guess. 4.8, letter from MACC dated 2/26/21. They received our payment. Woo!
Snail mail.
4.9, letter from Wilcox and Barton dated 2/3/21. RE Phase 4 final inspection report, 324 Main Street. That would be the old Citgo station. They removed the tanks, and I guess it's now clean.
They're monitoring still, Karen. They're still doing ground monitoring and.
Well, it's the final report. Final report.
All right, then they're probably gonna get ready to tear it out and finally finish that mess up.
Yep. 4.10, determination from Natural Heritage dated 3/8/21 on 59 West Meadow Road. They sent that. Oh, where'd that go? Oh, anyway, somewhere in here. Actually, I didn't print it. I just emailed it. So it's a final determination for West Meadow, letting them know that they have a timeline of working. And the timeline is coming up at 3/15 on March 15th. After that, they have to hire a turtle monitor and put up erosion controls for the turtles.
They need a special permit also, right?
It's not a special permit.
No.
Well, they have to come up with a species management program after that. So it's not really a permit, it's a program.
And what did you say was the due date on that, where they're supposed to hopefully be done?
After March 15th, they have to have a species monitoring program in order to do work. So
Does
like
this
next
turtle
week.
monitor just sort of, you know, open up a chair and like sit there all day?
kinda,
That sounds like a pretty cool job.
We have volunteer positions.
it's
Time.
usually what happens is you put up erosion silt fence, and
Right.
it has to be nice and tight because it keeps them from moving back and forth. But someone will come out and check it once a week or so, just to make sure that everything's up and nothing can get in. And
Okay.
so, yeah, exciting times, huh?
Okay, so we're
There's
all.
more to it than it sounds, believe me.
Yeah, there is. There is. 5.0, items for discussion at the next meeting. We have an RDA for the water department. They're going to be trying to put in a new well field over Main Street. The rail trail is looking to amend their OOC again, or still. And we're going to have South Row Road.
They're putting in they want to put in a new well, Karen?
Yes. Yep.
That's interesting. Is that sort of, there was one that is offline, is that sort of to like make up for it, or?
No, actually, this is an improvement on the well that's at Main Street, down almost in, was that West Townsend? That's West Townsend.
Cool.
That one's really close to the brook, so they're moving it further away from the brook. I haven't read the
Trying
full,
to get it away from Witchbrook, Karen, obviously.
I haven't read the full proposal because I was busy getting ready for this, but you all will, when I meet up with you for signatures, I'll give you the proposal that they have here.
Okay.
I have a question when you're ready.
Go ahead.
With regard to, what was it, 0 Main Street, I think pretty much all of us went to that site walk. And the gentleman that owns the property had said something about he was going to utilize one of the agricultural entities. Have we heard anything from anyone regarding that?
No. I was going to reach out to him before Christmas, but I just haven't gotten back to it. And it's a little more work than I want to do with right now. So I'll reach out to him and see if he's got anything, but that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to wait till we have an agent that can do some of this work. I've got my
I
hands
have
full.
to agree. I mean, you're
Yeah, I
already
do
burdening
too.
yourself with a lot more than you should have to. We've been there, done that, and I firsthand know what it's like. It makes you a little grumpy at the meetings. I'm sorry, I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't think so.
I'm not grumpy.
No, not at all.
Anyway. All right. So
Get a
items.
taser, I'm not going in.
No.
Nah, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
And then we have 6.0, advertisements and conferences. So MACC is coming up April 6th through the 17th. You should look to see what you might want to take, because you can create an invoice and directly invoice the town, so you don't have to pay for these out of pocket and then try to get reimbursed.
Do we know where they are going to have it this year? Is it going to be up Holy Cross on the hill again?
It's virtual again, virtual.
Virtual.
Oh,
I need more interaction with people. I can't virtualize everything. It's just too much.
maybe you should go to the local creek.
Okay, so,
I did not.
Oh, sorry,
okay, you guys, thank you.
stop that.
So again, please look to see what you might want to take and, create an invoice so that we can just put it forward so the town can just write a check for it. 7.0, next meeting is, I wrote February 24th. Good job. March 24th
March 24th.
at 6 p.m. Now, actually, I do have a question. Do we want to continue keeping our meetings at 6, or would we like to move them to 7?
7.
Oh, okay.
I like to say,
Well, we're going
I thought it was
to be here for 7. Why 7 o'clock? You know what it's like when old people are up way later than they should be?
Who
You're
woke her
looking
up?
at it.
yeah, who woke her up?
Yeah, I know.
She's crabby.
I am gonna get the mute button, by the way. So
Nobody wants to eat dinner before the,
they're old, they eat at 4:30.
5 o'clock.
See, I mean, when you retire,
do you have
know
a-
what it's like.
Well, you're old.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that you folks accommodate my terrible schedule sometimes too. So if it makes things easier for Jennifer, then 7 is okay with me.
I'm fine with 7 because we used to, you know, start them at 7:30 when I was trying to get out of work early and make it to the meetings. So 7's fine. That's no problem.
my real thought with 7 was it allows TCAM to schedule a meeting between 5 and 7, and then we would have 7 on. It's just, I think it works better for them, and I was hoping it worked better for you. Yeah, the April 14th meeting will be at 7. So maybe after April 14th, we'll continue on with 7 o'clock. Okay.
And then another point being, going down, hopefully things are getting better and whatnot. Are we going to go back to having meetings at the where you are?
If everything goes well, maybe in June, we can have meetings in person.
That would be awesome.
I
So-
think it would be good for us.
Because you know, the Great Hall here, we should be able, as long as we don't have another spike and they don't limit attendance, we should be able to
Right.
have meetings in the Great Hall.
Yep.
So,
And knock on wood, hopefully we're all going to get our Johnson & Johnson vaccine soon.
okay. So, magical part of the night, 8.0.
You got your shot, yeah.
That's it. Motion to adjourn?
You know.
At 7:32. Can I get a second?
Second. You can have it, Jennifer. That's okay.
She beat you anyway. Fair and square.
Yeah, she did. I think it was
She's
close.
fast.
John Hussey, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jim Derury, you in favor of this?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Dalton Wegman, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jennifer Eaton, are you in favor of this?
yes.
And I am in favor of this.
Cool.
Thank you, people.